Have you ever wondered if it's possible to secure your future in the UK after 7 years? Maybe you've heard whispers of a 7-year rule but dismissed it as a myth or something too complicated to understand. What if I told you that for some, this isn't a myth? What if I told you that for children and young people who have built their lives here, a pathway to permanent settlement in just 7 years is a reality? And what if I told you that recent changes have made this route clearer and more accessible than ever before? Stay tuned, because in this video we are going to demystify one of the most compassionate and significant pathways in UK immigration, the 7-year route to indefinite leave to remain. We'll break down exactly what it is, who qualifies in 2025, and the critical steps you need to know. This is the definitive guide you've been searching for. So make sure you subscribe to our channel and ring the bell before we begin. Let's get straight to the point. Does a 7-year indefinite leave to remain, or ILR route, exist in the UK? The answer is a resounding yes, but with some very important distinctions. This isn't a standard route for every adult, like the 5-year work visa path or the 10-year long residence route. The 7-year rule is officially known as the private life route, and it's primarily designed for children and young people. It's founded on a very humane principle in UK law that after a child has spent 7 formative years in the UK, building friendships, going to school, and integrating into society, it would be unreasonable and detrimental to their welfare to expect them to leave. This route acknowledges that the UK is their home in the truest sense of the word. And thanks to significant updates to the immigration rules, particularly those made in June 2022, this pathway has become more streamlined. So let's break down who this applies to, because the rules are different depending on one key fact. Was the child born in the UK? This is where the most powerful and direct application of the 7-year rule comes into play. It's a game changer for many families. Under the current rules, which we expect to be firmly in place for 2025, a child who was born in the UK and has lived here continuously for the first 7 years of their life can now apply directly for indefinite leave to remain. Let me repeat that because it's crucial: directly for ILR. Before the 2022 changes, these children would often be granted limited leave to remain, starting them on a long 10-year path to settlement. This created immense uncertainty and financial strain for families who had to make expensive renewal applications every 2.5 years. Now, the Home Office has recognised the profound connection a UK-born child has to this country. If your child was born here and has never left for any significant period for 7 consecutive years, they are eligible for immediate settlement. So what does the Home Office look for? The main test is whether it would be unreasonable for the child to leave the UK. For a child who has known no other country, has all their social, educational and cultural ties here, the argument that it would be unreasonable to expect them to leave is incredibly strong. Once they get ILR, the journey doesn't have to stop. After holding ILR for just 12 months, that child can then apply to be registered as a British citizen. This is a direct, compassionate and life-changing route. Now, what about children who weren't born here but have made the UK their home? The 7-year rule still applies, but the journey to ILR is slightly different. If a child arrived in the UK at a young age and has now lived here continuously for 7 years, they can also apply for permission to stay based on their private life. The core principle is the same. They have spent a significant portion of their formative years here, and it would be unreasonable to remove them. However, instead of getting ILR immediately, they will typically be granted limited leave to remain on what is now a 5-year path to settlement. Here's how that works. After 7 years of continuous residence, the child applies under the private life route. If successful, they get leave to remain, usually for 2.5 years, 30 months. They will need to extend this leave for another 2.5 years. After completing a total of 5 years on this private life visa, they can then apply for indefinite leave to remain. While it's not immediate ILR like for UK-born children, this is still a huge improvement. It provides a clear and defined 5-year timeline to settlement, which is much faster than the old 10-year route they would have previously been placed on. The private life route also extends a crucial lifeline to young adults who are often in a very precarious position. This applies to individuals aged between 18 and 24 who arrived in the UK as children. To qualify, they must be able to demonstrate that they have spent at least half of their life living continuously in the UK. Think about that for a moment. An 18-year-old who arrived at age 9, a 22-year-old who came here when they were 11. The UK is, for all intents and purposes, their home. They were educated here, their friendships are here, and their understanding of the world has been shaped here. Like children who arrived in the UK, successful applicants in this category are typically placed on the 5-year route to settlement. It's a vital provision that prevents young people who are British in all but their passport from being forced to leave the only country they truly know. Okay, let's address some of the most common questions and misconceptions. First, what does continuous residence actually mean? This is critical. For the 7-year period, the child cannot have been absent from the UK for more than is reasonable. The Home Office will look at the length and frequency of any trips abroad. A few family holidays are usually fine, but long periods outside the UK could break the continuous residence and jeopardise the application. It's assessed on a case-by-case basis. Second, can parents apply with the child? Yes. This is one of the most important aspects of this route. If a child qualifies under the 7-year rule, their parents, and even siblings, without leave, can often apply for leave to remain at the same time. The logic is that it's not in the child's best interests to be left in the UK without their parents. If the child is granted leave, the parents are often granted leave on the same path to settlement, typically the 10-year route. Third, does this apply to adults over 25? No. This is a common point of confusion. The 7-year private life route is specifically for children and young adults who have built their lives here from a young age. For adults, the main pathways to settlement based on time are the 5-year route for those on specific work or family visas, and the 10-year long residence route for those who have been here lawfully for a decade. There is also a 20-year route for those with a mix of lawful and unlawful residence, but that is a much longer and more complex journey. So, what does this all mean for you in 2025? It means that the UK's immigration system, while complex, has clear, established rules that prioritise the welfare of children. The changes made in recent years have provided much-needed clarity and faster, more direct pathways to settlement for eligible children and young adults. If you believe your child might qualify under the 7-year rule, the first step is to meticulously document their life in the UK. School records, doctors' letters, letters from friends and community members, all of this builds a picture of their integration into UK society. This isn't just about filling out a form, it's about telling a story. The story of a life being built, of roots being put down, and of a future that is inextricably linked to the United Kingdom. The 7-year private life route is more than just an immigration rule. It's a recognition of humanity. It acknowledges that a child's identity, well-being, and future should be at the heart of the decision-making process. Navigating the path to indefinite leave to remain can feel daunting, but knowledge is power. Understanding that this 7-year route exists, knowing who it's for, and seeing the clear pathways laid out can turn uncertainty into a concrete plan. Whether your child was born here and is approaching their 7th birthday, or you arrived as a family years ago and have now crossed that 7-year milestone, this route could be the key to securing your family's future in the UK. I hope this detailed explanation has been valuable for you. The UK immigration landscape is always evolving, so it's essential to stay informed. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and for more essential updates and clear, no-nonsense guides on UK immigration, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. Do you have questions or a personal experience with the 7-year rule? Share it in the comments below. Let's help each other build a knowledgeable and supportive community. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video.